distinguished members of the Sir Wilfrid Laurier School Board, Laval Liberty faculty and staff, dear family, dear friends, and above all, cherished graduating classmates. I would first like to say that I feel both honored and terrified standing here before you as your class valedictorian. It's a huge responsibility to have to give a life-changing speech, because I guess from now on, I'm responsible for all the rest of your lives. That's a lot of pressure, so I searched my heart and my soul for the right words to say, but like most of the papers I wrote for Mr. Papadakis, I wrote this the night before. Finally, I made a discovery that alleviated my burden immensely. I remembered another great valedictorian speech. It was actually mine in grade 6. And I didn't realize that I remembered nothing. This made me feel a lot better, and it freed me to say some things that may seem a little bit like bad advice, because maybe some of you won't remember it. But unlike what Mr. Millis said, this is a beautiful commemorative day. But it is not the end of a chapter or even the start of a new one. Truth is, we will never be able to write our story before it unfolds. Sure, we can try to imagine it, we can plan it out, we can even decide how everything is going to go. But these characters, they don't always say the right words, and they don't always fight the right battles. Truth is, things won't always go the way we want it to. Like most little girls, I knew exactly what I was going to be by the age of 3, a princess. But I didn't want to be a Disney princess, I wanted to be like Queen Elizabeth. Years later, I discovered this was literally not in my blood, so I decided if I can't be a princess, I'm going to be a lawyer. And the Queen and I were going to have a little talk. And then I found out about her army of lawyers, and I thought to myself, no thank you. I switched to doctor, and then to writer, and back to doctor, and now here I am, a student. Don't tell me I'm the only one. When we first came into the school, we came here as future CEOs, and engineers, and NFL players, fashion designers. And now we do leave, some as friends, some still as strangers, but all of us just students. And this is really how it's going to be for the next few years, and for some of us, the next few decades. I'm not saying it's bad to know exactly where you're going. That would actually be really bad advice. In fact, it's important to have aspirations and dreams that will guide us and shape our choices. But we also need to be patient and flexible and accept that failure is not being unable to move forward, but it's being able to move in a complete other direction. See, I haven't lived enough to say anything really meaningful, but if Walt Disney was rejected 302 times, Harry Potter turned down by 12 different publishers, and Michael Jordan cut from his high school basketball team, how could we expect to not fail at all? And yet, we are lucky. Lucky because we come from a school that taught us to think critically but creatively, to accept ideals but also to reject them. We are lucky because we came here expecting to be fed, our mind's appetite voracious and greedy, and now we leave, hungrier than ever. Lucky that what sets us apart never divided us, and lucky that we had no idea where we were going, and yet here we are, the class of We Made It. We were lucky because it was impossible for us to plan any of it. We had no idea we would have such exceptional teachers at Laval Liberty High School, teachers who expected the best from us, but also awakened us to our own expectations. We couldn't imagine our parents being more supportive than they already were, and yet they continue to astound us. Who would have guessed which strangers among us, in a few years' time, would define us in giving us liberty to define ourselves? The memories we made as we traveled to Costa Rica, to New York, to Europe, as we hosted the robotics competition and the fashion and talent show, as we sent our soccer and football and hockey teams and brought back a legacy to lift the next year's players, as we watched our artists and our musicians, our writers and our actors become ambassadors of our school's individuality and richness. And finally, our student leaders empowered entire communities with their character, their compassion, their candor, and their commitments. Who would have known all this was going to happen in a few years' time? And that is why today is not the end of a chapter or the start of a new one, because we can't ever write our story like a book. Real stories are not written with the letters of degrees that one day might follow our names: MD, PhD, LLD. It's not made up of numbers and figures, positions and titles. Real stories are unpredictable. They come with surprises and struggles, setbacks and fallouts. But real stories are not bound by rules or expectations. We, graduates, are free to imagine, free to venture, and free to create. So here we are, Laval Liberty's graduating class of 2013. I honor you, I thank you, and I wish you the best of stories. Congratulations.